This video, I'm going to share the advice I wish I had have got when I was skinny fat. And don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to follow a structured program or get a coach. I know that advice doesn't really help, and I have suggested it in the past. So even though that is part of what I wish I had have known, it's not, in my opinion, the most important thing I wish I had have understood back then. And so that's what I want to share in this video. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodie and I help you change your beliefs so you can change your body, your health, and your life. So as you might notice, I'm wearing a microphone. Finally, I've had this microphone for ages for my podcast, but I keep not wearing it for my YouTube videos. I don't even know why. I think part of it was being embarrassed to wear the microphone for some reason. But anyway, we're trying to continuously improve even my videos. So thank you for the kind feedback, and I hope it helps you hear me better. I do apologize if you hear some noise in the background. Unfortunately, they are developing the vacant site next door to me, and so I'm going to have to deal with a lot of construction noise over the next few months until my lease ends and I can actually move out. Anyway, so to the point of the video, the advice I wish I had have known when I was skinny fat back in my 20s, teenage years. I had my eating disorder, I guess. And then I became skinny fat when I put on enough weight. It's pretty much skinny fat for my entire 20s until I turned 29 and I got my first coach, and that's when I started making progress. I'm going to break it down into 3 things I really wish I had have understood. First thing being the time frame. So I was very focused on trying to lose fat, especially my belly fat, as quickly as possible. I know you know that it takes time, but I wish I had have understood the time frame as in, okay, you need to go through body recomposition. That is going to take at least a year, so have that mindset around it. And then you're probably going to be able to continue that even longer. If not, you really need to focus on building muscle for another year or 2 before you even think about going back into a deficit to lose weight. Now, in that body recomposition process, you will be building muscle, but you should also be losing body fat slowly. And then once you go into a proper building phase, that's when the fat loss side of things will slow down. But the more muscle you can build from the start, especially if you are skinny fat, because that's your primary problem, the more muscle you can build, the stronger you can get in the gym, the higher you can build your calories up, the better position you are going to be in to actually go into a cut in the future and continue the fat loss side of things. And then that is going to reveal the best physique possible, as opposed to going through body recomposition, kind of rushing the process, let's say doing that for 6 months or even doing that for 12 months, and then kind of getting uncomfortable, getting back into that rush mindset and going back into a cut straight away. If you can hold off the cutting process, and what I mean by that is going back into a deficit, if you can hold that off for 2 years or even 3 years, it's going to work out so much better for you. I wish I had have known that that was the kind of time frames I should be looking at. And I think if I did, then I would have completely relaxed into the journey and saw it as more of a journey. Then I wouldn't have been having these expectations of completely transforming my body after just 12 months. Like, it's just not enough time. Yes, you can make a lot of progress, but you're very likely not going to be where you want to be, because it is a journey. It does take years. When you accept that, you can kind of have fun along the way. It wasn't until I got my first coach that I kind of let go of the time frame, and I was kind of like, let's just see what happens. I didn't know whether it was going to work out for me or anything, but I said to myself, okay, I'm going to do this for a year, give it a proper shot. And then I kind of became addicted to the process and continuing to better myself. And I've kept going ever since, because every single year since I turned 29, so I'm 36 now, every single year I keep feeling better and better in my body. And it's to the extent now that I just keep expecting to feel better and better. I don't even know what that looks like because I've never felt it before. It's not that I don't feel great now, but you don't know what you don't know. And I don't know what better feels like, but it's fun to try and reach that. So the next thing I wish I had have understood when I was skinny fat is the importance of carbohydrate. and making sure you are eating enough carbohydrates. Now, I know a lot of you are worried about protein intake, and you should be, because that is super important as well. And I know a lot of you aren't eating enough protein. You shouldn't be scared to eat carbs. And I was terrified of eating both, to be honest. I was terrified of eating too much food because I thought it was going to make me fat. And I didn't understand the concept of energy input impacts your output. As you continue to move through your training programs and as you continue to make progress in the gym, you need more energy to continue to be able to push that intensity up. When you have everything aligned, when you're eating enough, especially carbs, to fuel your training, everything happens in a way you wouldn't expect. You end up building more muscle, you end up losing body fat if you're doing things right, and you do have that potential to go through body recomposition. Don't gain fat even though you're eating more food. I remember I had a boyfriend back then who used to try and get me to eat extra protein by like just giving me a tin of tuna to add to my lunch. And I was so terrified of gaining fat from that I would not eat it, I would refuse, and then we would end up having this massive fight because he was trying to help me do the right thing and I just didn't understand it and I wouldn't listen and I was too scared. It's only when I kind of outsourced that trust to someone else that was an expert. That boyfriend knew what he was doing for himself, but I didn't trust that he knew what was best for me. It's only when I outsourced that trust to an expert, my first coach, that I kind of really accepted that, okay, this is right, this is what I need to do. And then I started doing it. And then I saw for myself how important carbs are and making sure you are eating enough food. And as part of that, I wish I understood that my carbohydrate needs would change as I kept making progress. So it's not just a fixed number that I had to aim for. I had to keep pushing the limits up and then also pushing my discomfort up, because obviously as that target got bigger, I had that same fear coming up again that, oh my goodness, this time I'm actually going to get fat from it. And it never happened. The last advice I wish I had when I was skinny fat is to do with intensity and training intensity. I wish someone had have told me what it should feel like and what I should be focusing on in the gym. And apart from progressive overload and like making sure you're pushing yourself to get stronger every single week, it is intensity. And what I mean by that is by the end of the set, the reps are meant to feel hard. I was going in lifting with poor form, and I remember I went to Melbourne University, and so I used the gym there occasionally. I would have phases where I was really consistent, then I'd have phases where I wasn't, hence I got nowhere, but also I didn't have a program, didn't understand intensity, and my form was terrible. And a trainer came up to me quite a few times to give me some tips. I actually really wish he had have tried to sell me into personal training, because I would be way ahead now if he had of, but he gave me some form tips. And then even once I had that, I was still kind of using weights that felt doable. And that's what I see a lot of people in the gym doing now. Not everyone, obviously, but if you're training consistently and you feel like you're not making progress, it's usually something to do with your nutrition or something to do with your intensity in the gym. And the best way to tell if you are training with proper intensity is to film yourself and to actually look at your whole set. Start of the set, things should look kind of normal. You should have good form and the reps will move pretty fast. You should be following the tempo in your program and obviously controlling the weight, not just letting it drop. By the end of the set, what you need to notice is whether or not your reps slow down. And I mean the concentric component of the lift, so where you're actually lifting that weight up. If your last 3 reps look the same as the first 3 reps in terms of speed, then you're not lifting heavy enough. And that is how you understand intensity. It should feel hard. It should feel like it's almost not possible, but then you do it, and that's how you challenge your muscles enough to change. Now, a little add-on there, you shouldn't be going max intensity from week 1. You need to cycle your programs. Week 1 should feel a bit easier, and then as you progress week by week, you start to push that intensity up. Then by week 3, 4, or 5 of a program, you should be noticing those last few reps really slowing down because they're so hard. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know if the sound was better. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. If you liked it, please like it. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. And if that's the case, I will see you in the next video.